How are you? I hope you all are doing good. Today's my video is going to about how to search accommodation in Canada. So friends, today we are going to discuss three scenarios. One for a student if you're coming as an international student. Second, you're coming as a worker. Third, you're coming as a PR. Okay, we will discuss all the scenarios, positive and negatives of both the things, and then you decide what you need to do. Okay, and if you will like it, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Let's just start. Okay, friends. So there are three conditions you are coming in Canada. First is as an international student you are coming. Second, you are coming as a foreign worker on work permit. And third one, you are coming as new immigrants as PR. So all the three has different scenarios, but has something in general, which I'm going to discuss here. First thing, say if you're coming as an international student, so the best way to find the accommodation, contact your school, contact your college. Every school has a department to help international students. They have a club as well for international student club. So you reach out to those people because those people are there to help you only. School made a special department to help international students. Secondly, if you're coming as an international worker or a foreign worker, then generally employers provide you accommodation, or at least this suggests the area that this is the area which is economical for you to live. So contact your employer if they have some HR department who is there to help you, or any kind of help if you can get that, because employer is the one of the most reliable source to contact. Third, if you are coming as new immigrants or PR holders, then the best way to you guys, if you have any friend or relative in that particular city where you are coming, ask them. If you do not have any friend or relative, like I came, I was having no friends or relative here, then look for some Facebook groups or some Facebook pages. Every city has a Facebook page for rentals. For example, I live in Vancouver, so there is a Facebook page for Vancouver rentals. So look for those resources. Okay, so these three types or three conditions for three type of immigrants to Canada. Now the next thing comes, which is most important, I believe, is budget. How much you wanna spend, because when you will come to Canada, definitely you are gonna pay in Canadian dollar. If I will talk for Indian rupees, it is around 53 now. 53 rupees is equal to one Canadian dollar. So budget matters generally for everyone. So first you decide how much you wanna spend on your accommodation. So you wanna spend 400, 500 or 1000, depending if you're single or you're married or you're coming with family. So first decide your budget, what kind of accommodation you need and how much you wanna spend. So say you have a budget of $500, for example. Now, generally in Canada, there are two types of accommodation. First is shared accommodation. Second is separate. If you are in a shared accommodation, then you can rent a room. You can rent a shared room, like what is that basically, say we are living in this apartment or in this house, and this apartment has three rooms, then generally everyone will have one room, and the shared area will be common area, living room, your bathroom, your kitchen. So that is generally cheaper than other separate accommodation. And if you wanna go even on more budget, then you can also share a room. So for example, if you take one single room, then you pay $500. But if you are sharing your room with someone, then generally you will pay 300 or 320. So that is even less expensive than having a single room. When international students, or when you are single, you are coming here, then generally people prefer to share the room. If you are in that age that you are ready to like adjust yourself, because shared accommodation has some kind of pros and cons. Pros is this, my dear, it is cheaper than the separate. Definitely if you want a you want a one room apartment or one room basement, it will cost you around $1,000. If you want a room, it will cost you around $500. So prices are cheaper for shared accommodation. Second thing, when you come from your home, you feel so lonely. You need someone. So if you are in a shared accommodation, then I believe you are not gonna feel that much homesick, because I came here. When you come from your home, you have mom, dad, your siblings, everyone there, and suddenly you come to a new country where you don't know anyone, right? So when you are in a shared accommodation, you have a kind of companion with whom you can share your happiness and your sorrows. So you are kind of comfortable with a person, okay? But it has some negatives as well. It has some cons as well. Let's discuss that. If you are in, say you are in 19 or 20s and you are okay, oh man, I will adjust with anyone, that's fine. I can share my room or my space with anyone. But say you are in your late 20s and you are at that professional level in your life, I'm not gonna share my room with anyone. So then there are some cons for you as well, because when you share your living area or your kitchen with someone, then um, some people are quite unstable, some are not. For example, if you're sharing area with someone, you clean the dishes in the morning, you went on work, and now you are coming back home after your tiring day, and you again find that those dishes are in the sink. Someone has used those dishes, like your roommates has used those dishes and never cleaned. Like you cleaned the bathroom in the morning, or you kept everything, towel, soap, everything on the place, but when you came, you were tired, you want to take a shower or bath, things are not there, towel is like wet, or it's a kind of chaos or mess. It happens. I'm telling you because I lived in a shared accommodation, so it happens many times. So you have to be extremely adjustable if you want to be in a shared accommodation. Okay. So sometimes you also feel that your partner or your roommate is working at different hours, because people work here at different hours. So your timings are not matching with each other. So when your sleeping time is on, he is going on work. So he is disturbing your sleep and your privacy, all that. So these factors are there too. Again, but if you're in a shared accommodation, then you can try some more positives. For example, if you are from India, try to have your room partner or your apartment partner of your community. Why? Because then you can share same food. Like if you're buying groceries, you can buy same groceries and you can share the bill. Then you just don't share your rent, you also share your grocery bills, because that is a big expense, and that makes a difference when you share your grocery bills as well. You can share your food bills as well. If you're ordering food outside, then because you both eat same kind of food, then you can share the bill. Sometimes it's good to live with other nationalities. I'm not saying that don't live with other nationalities. It's good, but sometimes when you're living with another kind of culture, then they order their food, you order your food, so it's kind of extra burden. Now we are in an initial stage and we want to lower down our expenses, right? So try to minimize those. You can share that with your other roommates and all that. And one thing I also forgot to mention in the starting, it is a good idea if you're coming to Canada, choose Airbnb or any kind of hostel or any place for 5 to 10 days or 15 days. You land in Canada, and then find these accommodations, because there are lots of scams also in Canada for accommodation and other things. So please be aware about that. Okay. So now we have discussed about shared accommodation pros and cons. Okay, now let's discuss about a separate or private accommodation for you. What are the pros and cons? When it is a private accommodation, definitely you have your own space. The whole room or the whole apartment is yours. You can do one thing, you can find the two types of accommodation when you want a separate one: apartment, single room apartment, or a single room basement. Basements are here like people have their main house and then they have a basement and they rent it out, and generally a basement is cheaper than an apartment. Apartment are kind of more luxurious kind and those are expensive, but you can go with basement. Secondly, it depends on your personal requirement as well. If you're coming single, then you can have just one room apartment or basement, but when you're coming with family or with your spouse, then if you have a kid, you have to have two bedroom basements or apartment as per the government requirements. You, your spouse and your kid can't be in just one room. You have to have two bedroom apartment or suite or basement. Okay, so first thing is, this is your own space. You have your own privacy. Do whatever you want to do. There is no chaos, no mess if you haven't made that. So it is there, but definitely it is more expensive than a shared accommodation, and it just you do not have anyone to talk. And when you are in separate accommodation, you have to 99% your utilities are separate than the rent. Like say your rent is $1,000, then you have to have your own Wi-Fi because it's just you, no one else with you, right? So you have to pay for Wi-Fi as well. And generally BC Hydro and what we call BC Hydro and gas, yeah, BC Hydro and gas bills are separate than your rent, so it is even more expensive. So try to have a place where your utilities are included in the rent. Okay, if you're taking an apartment, try to or try to find a basement. That's more economical when you are new to the country. So try to find a basement where you have your utilities included in the rent, then your rent will be a little bit less expensive. Okay, so this is for a separate accommodation. When you have decided you want a shared accommodation or a separate accommodation, now the other points come into the light is how far this place is from your school or your workplace. Try to find the place which is nearby your school or your workplace. Doesn't matter if it is $200 expensive. Why? Because generally employers in Canada pays you per hour. So for example, you are finding a place in $500 from your school, but you have to travel every day 1 hour to reach your school and 1 hour to come back to your home. You're spending 2 hours every day, and it's damn tiring, guys, because when you come from home, you are generally in a very comfort zone. uh, you're spoiled by your parents, or if you're a professional, you have your own car and all the luxury things. But when you come to Canada, generally we have to take public transport in the starting, so we get so tired when we are traveling for 1 hour. So say you got a room at 500 from 1 hour away from the university, and you got another room at 700 which is nearby university, and you can just walk to university in 15 minutes. So take a room which is at 700 and you can walk to your university in 15 minutes. Why? Because that will save your time, and the amount of time you're spending in coming and going back to your school, you can earn money in that time. Generally people pay, employers pay here per hour, so the amount of money you will spend on the rent, $200 extra, you can make those $200 easily by working 2 hours extra in 10 to 15 days. So you're not getting tired, you are making more money because you will have more time. You can utilize that time in earning more money or doing your assignments, because when you're a student you have to make lots of assignments. So utilize that time in doing something productive, just not in commuting. So one thing is distance, please keep that in mind too. The third thing which comes into my mind is groceries and other utilities. uh, if you're coming to Toronto side, like if you're coming to East Coast, so there snow is generally a matter of concern because most of the time it's snow. So if your grocery stores are far away from your place and you are traveling by public transport, then bringing groceries is a big task, man. Snow is too high over there. It's around, it's actually high, so it's really hard to walk in that snow. How you will bring your groceries in two bags in that snow? So Take a place which is nearby the grocery stores and other utilities like pharmacy. If it is nearby Walmart, then really good. Walmart is a good place where you find everything, and pharmacy is also there in the Walmart. So groceries and other utilities is a third factor to choose a place. Okay, now when you decided a place, the groceries and all that, you have considered first, second, third, all the points, and now you have decided a place. Now question is come, how to search a place in Canada. After deciding this, now ask a help from your school, your worker, what are their websites, because school generally provides accommodation of their own. This is called student residence in Canada. If you can find that place, that's the most economical one. That's the, I believe that's the best one. Go with that. But generally schools residences get filled so quickly, so then they will offer you a family with whom you can live. That's a kind of paying guest kind of system. I personally don't like that, because then you don't learn anything. You don't learn that how to buy groceries, how to explore all the things. You are just dependent on that family. So I personally do not like that. Ask your school if they can provide you any list of the places where you can rent the place, that's a private accommodation. Or you can go to Facebook groups of that school. Every school has a Facebook group where all the international students find accommodation, and you can ask your seniors in that university if you have know someone through Facebook or other pages. And you if you can link with someone over phone or anything, and then look for the accommodation. And please do not pay anything from India, because there are so many scams. If you don't know anyone and you have paid your $500, I don't know that's a good accommodation or that's even legit or not. So don't pay anything. First come here, look for the accommodation, and then pay. Okay, now you ask from your school, you ask from your employer, and you ask from your friends or relatives. After this, there are some website over here, and 99.9% people find their accommodation over there. I found my accommodation on that. First website is kijiji.ca. I will give you the link over there in the description box. Another is Craigslist, which is also there. And third one, on Facebook groups like I Live in Vancouver, so Vancouver Rentals, or Nanaimo Rentals, Kamloops Rentals. So such kind of Facebook groups are there. And one last recommendation also, guys. When you come to Canada and you are in Airbnb, or you are at your friend's place, or you are at your relative's place, go and explore the things. We are having laundry shops over here. Like laundry shops, sometimes all the tenants do not get laundry at home, so they have to go out to get their clothes laundry. So there are some laundry places where people put rental advertisement kind of thing. People just go and put that we have a room on rent, this is my contact details and all that. So go and search laundry places, go and search at Gurudwara or church, or at the grocery places. Local people put advertisement for the accommodation. So search all these areas, explore these. One most important thing, if the regular rent in that area is say 500 and someone is giving you a room at 200, please suspect that. There is no such thing at 200 room. 99.9% those are scams. People just take your money and they get they get disappear. So those are the scams, be aware of that. It may happen that if the general rate is 500, you get a room at 400 if that's a old house, or they have some specific requirements. So that's legit, that's okay. Okay, if still you feel something that Poonam, we want to know this, or we need your help in this, feel free. I'm here to help you. Whatever I can do for you, I will love to do this. Thank you so much, guys. That's all for today. Have a good day. Bye bye.